What's good, everyone? This your main correspondent, Alan Taylor, and I'm back in the broadcast room. And this is where we at now. So we clearly see the title of the broadcast here. And yes, the Leering Center has closed down. Now, my question here is the daycare that went viral due to Nick Shirley with the misspelled word, man, I wonder what's going to happen to all those innocent children that need daycare. The poor babies out there, the poor babies. So we're going to dive off into this. Let's go here now. Quarters, nickels, and dimes.
Tonight, we are following up on a Minneapolis daycare at the center of questions about fraud in Minnesota's Child Care Assistance Program.
We have been tracking CCAP funding for more than a year. Investigative reporter Eric Rasmussen is here with new developments raising, Eric, even more questions.
You might have heard this name. We're talking about the Quality Learning Center near downtown Minneapolis. First, it was closed, then it was open, and now we've confirmed it's closed again. That's all after the owners recently rejected allegations of stealing taxpayer money. Back at the Quality Learning Center in Minneapolis, it was a case of deja vu. Hi, this is Eric Rasmussen with KSTP Channel 5. We're still waiting for a response to our calls and emails looking for an explanation about what 5 Investigates found Wednesday morning. A search of the state's online system reveals Quality Learning Center now closed as of January 6th. A 180-degree turn after our cameras recorded a parade of parents and children into the business last week. The owners used that to refute a viral YouTube video claiming to expose empty daycares, collecting millions of taxpayer dollars.
Someone came to our building outside of operating hours.
So why is the daycare suddenly closed again? The Department of Children, Youth, and Families would only tell 5 Investigates that Quality Learning Center requested closure of their license on Tuesday. No answer.
Technically, they done burnt that place out. That place that got found out, they done moved around to some other place they probably already had established somewhere that's not under investigation at the moment. So they closed it down. Basically, it's just like when you have a trap house, but you 10 steps ahead of the police, and they about to close, they're about to close in on you, and you go head on and get out of there. Get out of there before they actually invade. If you get word that they're about to close you, that they're about to invade the trap house, next Thursday or some shit like that, or in 2 days, then 9 times out of 10, if you get the heads up, you're going to leave. You're going to shut it down. So this was their warning when Nick spreaded the situation across the internet like this. This was their situation. They closed it down. Now that farce that they put on with having their own loved ones and family members bring their children to that building, they had to do a little save face real quick. But as you can clearly see where we at right now, they went on and closed that shit down. Real talk. They didn't got all the money they were gonna get out that trap house. Real talk.
From the daycare's owner when property records led us to this house in Shoreview looking for answers. What do you make of the fact that right after that big scene last week that they're closed again?
Well, to me, that's, where there's smoke, there's fire. Perhaps they're trying to avoid something.
State Rep Nolan West says questions about Quality Learning Center prompted him to send a letter to the head of DCYF demanding more transparency and accountability when it comes to which licensed daycare providers in Minnesota are actually open. A question KSTP has been asking for a long time since reporter Jay Coles found empty daycares receiving taxpayer funding a year ago. What do you think may actually come out of your letter, our reporting, all this attention?
Well, the idea is we need this to be taken seriously because we need bipartisan cooperation to pass any law in Minnesota. And clearly, we are in need of more anti-fraud measures.
As we reported last week, DCYF says that Daycare Quality Learning Center received $1.9 million in taxpayer funding in just the last fiscal year. Now, the agency declined our request for another interview today, but I can tell you it said the operators of Quality Learning Center must now reapply for another license if they ever want to reopen again.
And they're not going to get it. That's the reason why they closed it down. They shut that trap house down. They don't plan on going back there. They don't plan on going back there. That trap house is dead. You'll never see that building be used by Somalians again. I guarantee you that. That trap house is dead for real though. So we're gonna keep going because Fox had interviewed Nick Shirley about this particular situation and things like that, or what was going down with that Somalian trap house. And this is where we at right here. So let's see what Fox has to say about this situation, about the Quality Learning Center closing down.
Now, last month, independent journalist Nick Shirley shed a lot of light on the widespread alleged fraud taking place in Tim Walz, Minnesota, including at one alleged daycare center, misnamed the Learning Center. But according to state records, yesterday the center requested the closure of its license. They are now officially closed. Here with reaction, independent journalist Nick Shirley. First of all, you did phenomenal work. Your life has been threatened as a result. Is that correct?
Yeah, it has been. It's been completely changed over these past week or so as people started to defend fraud and come after me for exposing the fraud that was happening.
Well, first of all, I applaud your work. Thank you for all your hard work. Thank you for your courage in doing all this. I give a lot of credit to you. Let's specifically tell people what you found and how you found it.
Yeah, so at these daycare centers, people in Minnesota have been telling me for months that there was fraud happening inside Minnesota. I met up with this man by the name of Dave who had all the evidence of exactly how much money these places were receiving. And then you start going to these daycares and they have stuff messed up, such as some simple stuff like leering versus learning. And there's no children at any of the daycares, yet they're receiving millions of dollars. And there's just open and blatant fraud taking place inside of the state of Minnesota with all these welfare programs they have set up.
And now we're finding out it's billions of dollars. When you began your investigation, did you ever think it would be that staggering amount of money? And as James Comer said, that's only the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, well, within one day, we found over $110 million in fraud in just one afternoon. So if there's obviously millions and then billions, they have it estimated around 9 billion right now, but some people have said all the way upwards of 80 to $100 billion in fraud.
Jesus Christ. 80 to 100 billion. How is this possible? I mean, I get how it's possible because it's a lot of kickbacks that's going on to the legislatures of that particular state, the government of that state, period, that the people that govern that state, basically. Man, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money that's just disappeared.
Yeah, let's talk about you did a number of reports on this, and you now have been vindicated. You've been proven right. What are the specific threats against you? And I pray and hope that you're taking measures to protect yourself and your family.
Yeah, so people have messaged me. They've sent me photos of saying that this is going to be me next, and it's a photo of a dead person in a ditch. They've said I'll be kirked next, and they've doxed me. They've doxed my family, all for just exposing fraud. You would think this would be a time where people could say, oh, amazing, we're going to figure out where our taxes are going. But no, people made this a race issue. They made this a religion issue, when at the end of the day, it was just about people's hard-earned money going to fraudulent businesses.
Right. And it's sad that we have people over here in America that are thinking this way. It's sad that we see some of our fellow Americans, because I guarantee that's who's texting them that dumb shit. I guarantee that's who's texting them that dumb shit or sending crazy messages and stuff. It's these crazy super left people that are losing their minds over here. Well, that have lost their minds, and we got to deal with this shit. Told y'all, man, the traitors, bro, the traitors. I don't understand how you don't want fraud to be uncovered and your taxpayer, because they pay taxes just like everybody else. Like, you want your money going for this bullshit? Come on, man.
Yeah, Nick, I don't know. Are you planning to go full time into journalism? I think you got a bright career ahead of you.
Well, yeah, I've been doing it for quite some time. And for me, this was just going to be a normal week where I just upload another video, because I've been doing it for over 100 weeks. I haven't missed a single upload. And then for this to happen, it's been amazing to see the effect. And now you're seeing that all these left-wing outlets that came after me are now being proven wrong. And people like Tim Walz have stepped down from running for re-election because of the fraud. And
Right.
so, like you said, it's all been truthful, and people can't debunk the truth.
Yeah. Well done.
Right. At the end of the day, that's just the truth. Shout out to Nick. And shout out to the older gentleman that helped him with the research. Listen, look, people, this is just it right here. Yeah, they shut down the trap house. It was at that point, that particular place was overly exposed. They wasn't going to be able to make no more money off that place, and they shut it down, basically. And this is how it's going down. And there's plenty of other places that they're still making money, plenty of other ways that they're still doing fraud right now as we speak. And they're trying their best, the enforcement, the laws and stuff, they're trying their best to get to it as quick as possible. But it's so many different avenues that they're using to get this money. That's the reason why they, accumulated so many billions of dollars now, because there's so many different avenues and so many different ways. It's a lot of research that's going to need to be done with this particular situation of fraud in Minnesota. And they're going to have to get down to the bottom brass tacks of, who doing what, how the money moving, when it's moving, things like that, But yeah, though, they went ahead on and shut down the trap house. Kind of is what it is. That's where it's at, though. It's like, fuck this shit. We're done here. Let's focus on the other trap houses. But it is what it is, though. Shout out to all my subscribers. Mad love to y'all. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell to be notified whenever I decide to post things. And like I always say,
and that, my friends, is the bottom line.
That, my friends, is the bottom line.